Hi and welcome to Trade of the Week. No marks for originality this week, but my long bet on the Dow was particularly satisfying for a long-term equity bear. With the US partly closed for Columbus Day, stock markets began the week in fine fettle. The FTSE and DAX indexes made new highs for the year, dragging the Dow with them. On Monday I wrote that the Dow was on course for 10,000, but that I wanted a pullback to below 9,900 before considering a long trade. Tuesday saw a nervous market ahead of the techie bellwether Intel's results, especially after numbers from Germany indicated a drop in confidence. I was certain that the Dow would hit 10,000 sometime this week, but prices were more likely to be responsive to major US earnings than for technical factors. I reckon first stab at the big number could follow Intel's earnings release due after the closing bell. The Dow had pulled back to around 98.50, offering a good run up to the big figure. My strategy here was pretty straightforward. I'd sit at my desk after the US close, finger hovering over the buy button, and wait for Intel's results. If they were good, I'd buy straight away. If they were poor, then I'd wait for JP Morgan's results on Wednesday. I planned to set my stop loss at 98.40, just below the low of the past few hours. Some traders would have chosen the low of the day, but that was too much for me to consider. So going along there. The low of the day was 98.10, and that would have been too much risk in a jumpy market. My planned stop loss would expose me to 25 to 40 point risk for a possible 100 to 120 point gain, and that was pretty close to a 3 to 1 risk reward ratio, which is what I aim for. I didn't bother with an early T1 limit on this trade. My target was a straightforward 9,990. That might seem strange when I'm looking for a test of 10,000, but a broker I used to deal with had a saying about always leaving a little bit for Mr. Manners. This was a polite way of saying don't be too greedy, get out before the crowd, and it often made sense. So, was my evening a success, or would I have been better off watching celebrity TV? The Dow trailed off into the close, but that was irrelevant. It was all about Intel's results, and after a slight delay, Intel reported earnings way above expectations. I hit the button immediately, but missed out on the first 15 points in a fast moving market, paying 98.75 for a £5 spread bet. There we go, I got in about there. Market reaction was swift, and after a brief advance to 99.50, the price camped overnight at 99.20. I brought my stop loss up to break even and went to bed. Wednesday brought more of the same as stock markets continued to rise, first on better than expected UK employment numbers, then on an astonishingly good set of earnings from JP Morgan, and this allowed me to take my profits at 9990. There we go, bang on the top there, and that was a no-brainer for me ahead of the volatile US retail sales number that was due out a bit later on at 1:30. So that was 115 points at £5 a pop, giving me a profit of £575. My mate Harry Hindsight pointed out that Dow continued to rise, but this was a planned trade and it did what it said on the tin, and that was good enough for me. The important thing here was that although this looked like a straightforward bet on some news, the technicals were already supportive of a move higher. Had the news been bad, I wouldn't have sold the market against the trend. This was a one-way bet. Have a good weekend.